Hey everybody, welcome to The Well. This is the show where we do what you do, and we're going to take you on that journey to see how we've developed our financial advisory practice as digital marketers turned financial advisors.
All right, welcome back. Season 2, episode 5.
Episode number 5.
Changing it up for this one.
This is going to be a lot of fun. Crystal had this idea yesterday.
Right away, we're like, yes.
Yes, we're doing that. So obviously breaking from the normal look of things. The last time we were in this format, you guys saw us. There were 4 people at the table, but we wanted to make it more of like a little dating game.
I don't think I would have used the word dating, but sure, let's date.
Yeah. So what we're going to do today is tell an origin story.
Take it way back, because there's 10 years now.
10 years this year. That's how long Richy and I have known each other, and it's been a long journey. It's felt like longer than that in some cases, and shorter than that in others.
It does. I was trying to kind of remember some of the stories, and it almost feels like I'm forgetting stuff. It's far enough back that I don't even remember half of it.
Well, let's go way, way back. Richy.
All right.
Where were you born?
Where was I born? Born in Denver, Colorado.
Okay. What's your mother's maiden name?
Nope, not doing it.
Your grandmother's maiden name?
Nope, not doing it.
Social engineering? All right. Denver, Colorado.
Colorado.
All right.
Yep. Where were you born?
Manchester, New Hampshire.
Okay.
Yep.
My parents, I want to say they met in Texas, and they lived in South Dakota for a little bit when they first got married.
Okay.
And they were traveling from South Dakota back to Texas. I might get this wrong. Mom and Dad, tell me if I got this wrong, but I think it's right.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure they stopped in Colorado on the way, and then they liked it. And Dad's like, let's stay another couple days. And so they did. And then he ended up finding a job as a police officer in Aurora, Colorado, and they just stayed forever. I don't think they actually meant to live there. They just went through it. It felt right. Yep.
Okay.
And they moved there. So
All right.
Colorado.
Yeah.
Born and raised, baby.
Well, my parents didn't move around all that much before I was born.
Yeah.
Well, I shouldn't say that. I think they met in New Hampshire. Both my parents were pilots. I'm the youngest, so I was the last one along the way. I'm the baby.
I'm the baby too in my family.
Yeah, 2 babies.
Okay.
And
Couple of babes.
I think I was born in born at one house, and then they moved when I was like a year old or something like that. So the first house I remember was in Ware, New Hampshire. And then when I was 9, because my dad was a pilot for an aircraft manufacturer, we moved around quite a bit. When I was 9 or 10, we moved to Virginia, and then we moved to Texas a few years after that, and then moved back to Virginia, and then back to New Hampshire. And eventually I went to college in Wisconsin, and that's where I met my lovely wife.
There you go.
Yeah. Where'd you meet Hannah?
I met Hannah after 8th grade year.
Yeah.
We went to the same school. We ended up graduating. We were 2 of the 8 people in our class.
All right.
So
It's bigger than my graduating class of 3,
I know.
of which I was the valedictorian.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
I'd like to point that out.
Yeah, that's good. Yep. So we, Hannah's dad was my coach in high school, both basketball and football, and her brothers. She's got 3 brothers. They're friends of mine even before I was dating Hannah. So we all played sports together and did the thing. But yep. So then I graduated high school. Mm-hmm. I started working at Petco for a little bit.
Nice.
Small animal specialist.
There you go. Small animal specialist.
Yep. And then I found a job after that at a company called First Data. It's my first office job, and that's when I knew this. Yeah, I like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always thought maybe I'd be a police officer because Dad was. So I studied that for a little bit in college. Right away, I was like, this isn't for me. So, anyways, did that office job for a little bit, and then Hannah and I were young, 19, 20. Let's get married. So at that point, we said, I'll join the Air Force. We'll get married. We'll go do the thing.
Yeah.
So did that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chris and I met in Wisconsin at college, and when she got pregnant with our first, we said we don't want to raise a cheesehead. So let's move. Let's move anywhere we can, basically. And my uncle lived in Colorado at the time, and I'd visited when I was a kid, and I was like, I really like Colorado. It's beautiful. It's a nice place to live. So we moved to Colorado Springs. I was working at State Farm at the time. I graduated from college in 2008. I had started working for a State Farm agent in 2006, and just never looked back. And I didn't have a degree in insurance or finance or anything like that. I just was like, well, I don't want to be a school teacher. That's what I had been studying to do.
Yep.
I had done some student teaching, and I realized that I was not cut out for teaching kids. As I've learned throughout my life now, I like my kids, but I'm not real keen on other people's kids.
Yep,
and especially educating other people's kids. That was not my thing.
Yep.
So got into the insurance and financial services world in State Farm. Moved to Colorado, transferred to another State Farm agent's office there, and spent 3 years in Colorado Springs, I think it was 3 or 4. And I was kind of going the agency track. I was thinking I was going to be a State Farm agent. And I realized that what they wanted from their agents wasn't what I was looking to do. And they were really siloing people off and like, hey, you can only do this stuff.
Right.
And I just didn't feel good about that. Contract wasn't as lucrative as it used to be. And so I said, hey, I'm going to go into the independent space. And I started working at a little company called Able Financial Group in
FMO.
2012. Yep, an FMO. So if you're, financial advisor, you know what FMOs are. And you probably don't know what Able was because we were pretty small, but
A little subgroup of another bigger group.
Yep.
And nice little boutique.
Well, that's where I met Richy Hirtle in 2014.
Yeah, it is. 2014. I'm in Minot, North Dakota, because that's where I was stationed.
Mm-hmm.
I had one kid. I decided I don't want to spend my whole career in Minot, North Dakota. And I absolutely loved my career. I was a staff sergeant at that point. I loved what was going on, but I just I'm just a personality where I'm not okay just being comfortable. Like I don't like being at the bottom of anything. Like I need to be like progressing. Mm-hmm. So we knew pretty quickly, like, I'm going to do my enlistment and then probably get out. So we actually did a thing called Palace Chase, so where I went from active duty to the Guard, because you could pick where your base was. As long as they had a slot open, you could transition from active duty into the Guard in that slot. So I picked Buckley Air Force Base because I was in Colorado, kind of go home. So 2014, February, I do that, but that's 1 weekend a month. So I got paid for that weekend, but I didn't have any other money. So then at the same time, we're living with Hannah's parents at this time. I don't have a job, house, like a career, no clue what I'm going to do. Then we find out we're pregnant with my second.
So where'd you go work, Rich?
Yeah, so I actually, before I started working there, I heard about Able. Mm-hmm. And I was kind of flirting around with that, but then it fell off the map. And so it kind of fell away. So I was like, okay, I got to get some income for the family because I'm not going on what do you call it? Unemployment. Yeah. I just didn't want to do that.
Right.
So I do the next best thing. I go start working at King Soopers.
Nice.
And I just remember I'm in the produce. I'm working my butt off. Like I will work. You put me in a job, I will work harder than anybody. Mm-hmm. I'm in there and working my butt off. I was there for about 3 months. I just remember just sitting there just like, what are you doing? Like, why am I wasting? This is not what I got out of the Air Force to do, is work at. And I realized I was just doing it because I was scared. Like, I didn't know where I was going to go. I didn't have answers. And I was like, I'll just work at a stupid grocery store. And so then about that time, Able lined up, and I got the interview actually to come there in person. Mm-hmm. And so I remember
I remember that day. Richy comes in his goofy suit and
totally did.
And a monkey suit. And I'm like, we hiring this guy?
Yeah. I think it was a black suit. I bought 2 suits, a black and a gray, because I had a guy that worked at, actually the one that, was a sales guy for the airplane thing that took Hannah and I up when I proposed to her. He was a high-level, executive. So I said, what should I do? And he said, you need to go get 2 suits and do your thing. So I invested in 2 suits from Men's Warehouse or something like that. Mm-hmm. And I wore it in and did the interview. I don't think I met you on the first one. I can't remember. Maybe the second one.
Yeah. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I remember you coming in, but I don't know that we talked. I think it was, kind of an initial interview.
But anyways, it ended up working out, and they hired me and another guy on the same day.
Yep.
And Andrew was basically my manager at that point. I mean, for all, like, I didn't know anything about.
Yeah, but I had no management skills.
You said it. I didn't say it.
I was terrible.
No.
I was your coworker. I wouldn't say I was your manager.
Yeah, I just remember. I can even tell you. I remember the first time I met you. You had that purple Brokers International.
Oh yeah. Do I have that shirt? I might still have that shirt.
It might be a lot bigger now.
Oh, it's a lot bigger now. It's like a parachute now.
Yeah. But. you were wearing that and introduced them to me, or you to me to you, I guess, and started working at Able.
Yeah.
But I was so proud of that job.
Yeah.
Like they set me up with a desk. I mean, I got a computer that was mine. They got me a keyboard and a mouse. I know it's simple, but for me, I was like the small things. This is my like I'm starting. I'm gonna do something now.
It's a real career job.
Yeah, or at least I thought potential to do that. So
yeah. Well, I remember when Rich first started, I was butthurt.
Yeah, you were.
I was, because I won't go into all the details, but essentially I was a business developer at the FMO, and so it was my job to recruit people, get people right in business, and helping them out and all this stuff. And when I was told that there's these 2 new guys coming in, I was told, hey, you're going to basically give away part of your book of business to these 2 guys. And I was like, well, what? Like I've worked for the last, at that point, 2 years
Yep.
to cultivate some of these relationships, and now I just have to
Give it to me.
give them away. And that started our relationship off on a pretty rocky first year or two.
Yep, it did. And again, I told you earlier, I don't like to be at the bottom of anything.
Right.
So I'm a very competitive, like I'm not going to be here very long. But I didn't know anything.
Right.
Like it's such a, you guys know this, like this industry is, once you wrap your mind around it, you get it.
Right.
But like it took me about a year, I would say, before I even had a clue what I was doing.
Yeah.
But I wasn't going to show that to you or anybody else. I was just doing my thing.
Yeah. I would say minimum, if you've been in the industry at all,
Yeah.
it's 6 to 9 months. For somebody that has
minimum,
no
with
experience.
good training.
Yeah, with good training, which I didn't provide, obviously.
You did. No, you're not giving yourself credit. You did. Like, you might not have wanted to, and you were probably trash talking me at home every day, but you gave me fine training, and I think, like, you know, you'd set me up with call lists every day and, like, did the thing, and it was fine. The leadership at the company, I thought, gave me good training. If I asked, they were always happy to explain things, and even 10 times if I didn't understand it, they'd just explain it again. It was all good. It was good. It was a good start to the job. So we started recruiting. We were like the #1 recruiting FMO. I don't remember what summer that was, but we rocked it. For
It was
a while.
probably 2015. It was a year after you started because it was.
We finally got into digital marketing.
Yep.
Like we had something to offer, and we were blazing the phones, like recruiting advisors. It was fun.
Yeah, I think at one point we had. It was like 160 new contracted agents in like a 30-day period. Yeah. Like we just were crushing
just killing it.
We were crushing it. And it was for 3 guys too. I mean, just 3 guys just getting after it.
70 calls a day or whatever it was.
It was ridiculous. But we grew pretty quickly in that role. And I do remember one of my favorite memories from that job is every day at lunch. Well, there's two. Every day at lunch, Richy and I and another guy would play hearts.
Yep.
And Richy taught me hearts and taught me spades.
We used to play in the Air Force every day on the truck.
And I remember distinctly, it was probably the second week we started doing that. I shot the moon.
Yep.
And if you're a hearts player, you know shooting the moon means you get to either give everybody else 26 points or take 26 points off of your score. And it's because you collected all the hearts.
Yep.
And I didn't know what I was doing. I got lucky. I got dealt a perfect hand for it. I fell into it. But like Richy, I'm also competitive. I'm also very proud. Mm-hmm. And I was not going to let him know that I didn't do it on purpose.
It was so annoying.
It was about like 3 cards left in the hand. I was like, oh, I think I'm shooting the moon here. Like, because he had told us all the rules. And
he didn't say that, though. You didn't say that.
No,
you played it cool. Like, you mapped it out like so logically.
Right. And I was like, as I get down to the end of the hand, I'm like, I think I might actually shoot it. Like I might actually do this. And I'm like, I remember the feeling. My heart was racing. I got the butterflies. I was like, I'm actually going to do it. Because it's the first time I was actually going to like win a hand.
Yeah.
And I shot the moon. And I was just like, boom, I did that on purpose. And she's like, no, you didn't. And I was such a tool about it.
Yeah.
I was such a bad winner that day. And that almost escalated into...
It almost said we got a little bit heated. I remember that.
We were kind of shouting at each other.
Yep, a little bit. Like, you didn't do that on purpose. Yes, I did, whatever. And also, like, trivia. I remember you annoy the hell out of me with trivia.
Trivia Crack. Does anybody remember Trivia Crack?
Yep, that was what it was.
Trivia Crack. I'm pretty good at that game.
Even to this day, I just don't enjoy trivia. Like, what's that show? I can't even think of it.
Jeopardy?
I hate Jeopardy.
Yeah.
I don't know Jack on. You can't. So I don't enjoy that show at all. But they'll throw out a random question and Andrew would nail it.
Yep.
And in my mind, I'm thinking like he saw it before and he's just acting like he knew it the whole time. Like I just couldn't. So annoying with that. So anyway, so we had a little bit of butt heads.
I'd say a lot of butting heads. Like because it started off kind of the wrong foot where I had to give away stuff that I had worked for and I was resentful about that. And I don't think I was adequately. Empowered to be a manager, to train well. And so like, I didn't know where my role was. I didn't know where their role was. And I don't think it was anybody's fault because we were all just kind of learning together, but I didn't handle it well. And I at some point, I don't remember exactly when it was, Richy said to me, if we're going to work together, you gotta be less of a dick. And I was just like, oh man. Like, and he called me out and it's something I still reference it to this day when dealing with coworkers or when people are talking about, choosing partners or starting a business, like, hey, choose the partner that's going to be really honest with you, even with the hard stuff, because that's what made it click for me with Rich is like, he's going to be honest with me, even when there's a hard situation because I was being a jerk and whatever.
Was that the yelling match day or is that separate? I'm foggy now. I don't remember.
I think it was after the yelling match.
Okay.
It was like the next day, like it was like, we can't work like this.
We were cleaning it up. And so we said, okay, that's what it was. Cause I remember It was at my cubicle, I think, and I don't remember. It was some work related, some process. I felt like you wronged me. You felt like I whatever, and we weren't coming to like we were very close,
Very close
to throwing swings at each other.
Yep.
I was pissed, and you were pissed, and we were screaming at each other. Everybody was in the office, but nobody came out or said a word.
They're just gonna let blood fly. They didn't care.
We were having a moment there where it was like we're gonna learn to respect each other, and it's not gonna be this way anymore.
Yeah.
So we did that, and then you're right. I think it's exactly how it went. Then the next day we cleaned it up with like you can't be like that, and we need to work together.
Yeah, and then from there, it blossomed into I think a beautiful friendship and partnership.
We had a lot of fun.
Because after that, my second favorite memory is Richy and I used to. We didn't have a lot of money. We were both poor.
Yeah, we were.
So we would go like to, was it Walmart? I think it was Walmart.
Yeah.
And for like 6 months, we were buying all of our like lunch materials together. Like we'd buy some deli meat and we'd buy some cheese and we'd buy some bread and some mayonnaise and mustard, and like every day like we'd have our sandwich that
we'd get a bag of chips together.
We'd go grocery shopping and we'd have lunch together. That fell apart after a while. I think I wanted something.
It just got old.
It just got old.
You can't have sandwiches that much in a row. But.
Yeah, but we did that for about 6 months. Like we had our little shopping list that we went out every Monday hilarious. And we got what we needed and.
We had a lot of fun at that group. We used to, like scare each other. We used to like do some ninja kicks and shoot each other with airsoft guns.
Still got videos of all that stuff.
Yeah, we do, yeah.
If I can find any, I'll send some to old Ethan, and maybe we can insert Richy kicking a ball of mistletoe.
I got up on that kid.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
I was young and.
You probably can't tell from this video. Richy's tall. He's 6'4".
Yeah.
But the ceilings in that office were 9 feet, maybe.
Yeah, I would think
8 feet, maybe. I don't remember.
Yeah,
but we had a little mistletoe hanging. And you'll see it in the video. But we had mistletoe hanging, and Richy gets up there and he ninja kicked that thing.
Yep.
And then Ethan, you'll have to edit out the after effect after he kicked it. But anyway, it was old babyface Richy too, because you still had to shave your beard once a month.
Oh, I hated that. You grow your beard out for 3 weeks, 4 weeks almost, and then you have to shave it for the weekend. And I always felt so stupid on Monday, Friday, or Monday, Tuesday coming into work. But then, to be honest, we didn't talk about this earlier before the show, but I feel like toward the end of those days, I got pretty unhealthy.
Yeah.
When I was 25, I was in the Air Force. I tore my back doing military press. So stupid. It was like a light day, and I tore 2 muscles in my back. And after that, I kind of let myself get lazy. We started that job. I'm stressed out. I'm in a new industry. I've got 2 kids. Like we're not making a lot of money. For being honest, I was struggling to pay bills and do that kind of stuff. And I started drinking a lot more than I should. Just eating crap food, just being super unhealthy, not sleeping well. I also lived in a condo at the time, which was a beautiful condo. I still...
Yeah, it was a great spot.
I loved it. But it was on the second floor, overlooked, like, it was just a beautiful spot. The problem was, there was a unit under us, and I had 2 kids and a Rottweiler, and the unit under us was a rented unit. And so I remember living there, and my babe, the kids cry at night sometimes. They're kids. That's what they do. They cry. Yeah. Well, she would come to my door and ring the doorbell, and she would like stomp on our ceiling. And then she started smoking marijuana, which in Colorado is legal.
Right.
But the problem was my whole house would smell like weed. And I have kids in here.
Right.
I'm trying to live here. I was stressed out of my mind during that time. I was extremely unhealthy, extremely stressed. And it wasn't really a great time. And anyways, about that time, you and I started thinking like, we're really digging the digital marketing stuff. Yep. Like you and I we're doing it well. We're working well together. We thought like we can be a little bit more than what we're doing here. And we went, I don't remember where we went. McAllister's or
something like that.
It was some Irish pub.
It was an Irish pub in Southlands.
Yeah. Went there and just said, hey, let's just do it.
Yeah. Reach Out Marketing.
Yeah.
Reach Out Marketing was formed.
We started Reach Out Marketing, a classic I probably did it because we saw it on TV and stuff, but classic napkin, Reach Out Marketing, we signed it, and we have that, I think, somewhere. We could probably show a picture, but signed it and did the whole thing. But so that was 2015 maybe, or 16.
Yeah, 16. Because our first email was Richy and Andrew 2016 at gmail.com.
Yes.
So that was our first business email.
Too good. We picked up a couple clients, mostly in the faith-based. We were helping churches with their, promoting their Christmas event or whatever it was. And then we got into a couple bigger faith-based clients that were actually like real like businesses and stuff, and kind of blossomed where we both said we can do it.
Yeah, we can do this full time. I have a picture. I don't want to forget about it. from that unhealthy period where
Yeah.
both of us were kind of at the peak of our unhealthiness.
Don't show it.
But also it's stitched together with a more recent picture where both of us are closer to the peak of where we are now health-wise. So we'll share that because I think both of us have gone on quite a health journey. And that's part of that was starting on, like, realizing that we had this ambition to be our own owners, be our own business owners. And a part of that motivation was obviously financial, but a part of that motivation was to be healthier in our own lifestyle, you know, with family time and spending time with kids and spouses and things like that. And I think that's reflected in our health at this point. So I don't let me forget about that picture, Ethan, because that's a good kind of side-by-side comparison of where we were then versus where we are now, which I think is really great. But yeah, we started in 2017. We planned on jumping, but then we didn't for a bunch of reasons. In 2018, we did it. We pulled the trigger.
Ooh, that was a hard day.
That was a tough day. Won't get into all the details of that day, but it was, I was living in Indiana at the time.
Yeah, you had already moved.
I had already moved. I was working remote for the FMO still. And I remember the day distinctly. Richy we had decided we were going to do it. Yep. I wasn't in the office. I was working from home. So I had the easy part. I just had to log into Zoom basically. Yep. Richy's like freaking out. Like the day of, like, I don't know if I can do it, man.
I just felt so guilty about it. I knew it was the right thing in my gut.
Right.
Like I knew, and you guys know, we don't talk about it a lot, like on the other podcast, but this is more about you and me. So I feel like we could share, but I'm not a religious person, but I have a lot of faith, and I know you do too. Yeah. And so we operate under that, especially, like, I think the healthier we've gotten, the more we've realized, like, kind of straight and come back. But anyway, so I knew, like, in my gut, in the spirit, like, all that stuff, this was the right thing to do. But I just going in the office and telling them face to face, I just felt guilty because we had just done this initiative at the FMO where we rebranded into the only DMO digital marketing organization, and we did this photo shoot and this magazine, and like all this stuff that I was on and in, and you were on and in, and we had just done it. And so, and then really shortly after that, it was the right time, but I just felt so guilty going in and telling them that. I didn't want them to think that we bamboozled them, or it wasn't about that. It was just $2 and we're ready to grow up. We're ready to go do our thing and flower and blossom. So I went in there and said it. And then, anyways, shortly after that, we tried to do, a relationship with them and do this whole thing. But anyways, we ended up starting RA, which for a long time was just Richy and Andrew. Which, going back, would you name it RA?
I don't regret it.
Yeah.
It's not even really a regret, but I don't love that we started branding it so heavily Richy and Andrew, because that made for a somewhat difficult transition later on when we did need to kind of focus less on the two of us and more on just the company. But I remember when we did it, we were like, well, hey, JP Morgan's, that's a person's name, Merrill Lynch, that's a person's name. Like all these big companies, they're people's names.
All these digital marketing companies popping up, these agencies, they all named it after themselves.
Right. So we figured, why not?
Nicholas Kuzmich, actually. I'll just throw the name out. Because for me, that was a huge kind of, I doubt he'd be even watching this, but he was pretty instrumental, honestly, in our career and in RA and in digital marketing and all that stuff. But he had a company, just Nick Kuzmich, and so we're like, well, let's just do.
Yeah, he actually gave us our first big client.
He did.
He referred us our first big client in the financial services space outside of some of the smaller relationships that we'd already developed. And that got us off on the right foot that October of 2018 when we were trying to figure out how we were going to pay our bills.
Yeah, absolutely. He really did. You're absolutely right. It was good. And you might be wondering why not AR, why RA? Literally, the only reason is Andrew Riis.
Right. Yeah. My initials are Andrew Riis, and we didn't want it to be perceived that it was my company. We wanted to make sure everybody knew it was our company, 50-50.
Yeah. It means absolutely nothing that it's RA. It's just the way it is. We're 50-50. Yep. Some people have asked us that. Did you guys do 51-40? No. From day one, we're 50-50.
Yep. And we've had some disagreements.
Absolutely.
But anybody that's got a partner knows sometimes you just have to. I don't know. The advice everybody's giving, somebody should always have the majority. Somebody should always. We've never needed
totally
it.
Disagree. You should have the right partner.
Yeah, you should have the right partner. Exactly right. If you don't have the right partner, you need the majority. Or somebody needs the majority. But if you have the right partner, and I think while religion isn't necessary, but I think having somebody that is like-minded in faith and family and things like that makes it easier to, if there is a disagreement, it doesn't necessarily have to be all about your personality. You can say, I'm gonna step back. This is something that's very important to Rich, so I'm gonna step back and let him take control of this, or vice versa. Like, hey, Andrew's clearly passionate about this.
We're good at reading that. Yeah. I know if you need it, it's like, okay, I'm good with stepping
I don't think
back,
we've
so.
ever really pulled the partner card. Maybe once or twice.
We talked about it where
I'm going to pull it on this one guy.
yeah, we talked about where if we ever need to, we'll accept it. Mm-hmm. So if you ever say, Rich, I really want this, and I'm asking you to pull a partner card,
yeah,
I'll step back. But I don't, like you said, I don't think we've ever even.
Yeah, we've definitely discussed it, but it's never been, I don't think, exercised, so to speak. So yeah, that's really great. And from there, I mean, the rest is history, really. We did the RA thing, and we're still doing the RA thing. That company's going so well. Last year we grew 25%.
The last 3 years.
Yeah, every year. Yeah, year over year we've grown 25% every year.
Yep.
This year we've got some big ambitions. It's
which I can just say is super, super healthy.
Yeah.
Like I know when we were kind of younger, it's like, oh, we'll go from 0 to a billion overnight. That's such a stupid, silly, like immature mindset. Like you don't want that in business. There's so many companies and even competitors of ours that just overnight exploded, and it seems awesome. They have all this fancy stuff and all these employees. It's super cool, and then it crashes and burns because you can't keep up with that.
Yeah, it's not sustainable.
So we knew right away, very early on, it's going to be awesome one day to say we're this giant company, but we're gonna get there slowly and methodically. So 20% growth, I think, is healthy every single year, which we've done every single year. We've hired actually our very first hire is still with us today. Yep, and we try to keep people on board with us, and we have a fantastic team, and that's just been awesome. It's been a fun journey.
Yeah, and so most of you that have gotten this deep in the podcast already know that last year we decided to do go back into personal production. I had been licensed for years, given that up, but then Richie and I were like, hey, let's put our money where our mouth is, and that company is doing great also. I mean, we've had a killer start to 2024. Yep. Looking forward to a fantastic year. We've got some big changes that have happened, but are positive, and they're going to make things even stronger.
Is this the one we say, or are we keeping the secret?
No, it's still a secret, Rich. Okay. I want us to wear that birthday hat together. And all right, that's
still a secret.
It's
teased the last episode. We're teasing this episode.
Yeah, we're just gonna keep teasing it. Keep teasing it. You're never gonna know.
Yeah, but 2024, right? So now we've got the Planwise business, we've got the RA business, and we're 50-50 ownership in both, but our time, I don't even know. Maybe I don't want to say 50-50 split because
No, I think this year will be a little closer to that because intentionally last year we had to focus a lot more on standing things up with Planwise. But now we've matured a lot in our abilities together and with clients, so neither one of us feels like we need a crutch, if you will.
Right.
So we're for the time being at least we're starting to move more to a model of splitting the responsibilities. I wouldn't say splitting the work necessarily, splitting the responsibilities so that we can be there more frequently for the RA team as they need it. Because we've got some pretty strong growth initiatives over there. We obviously still want to grow Plan-wise, but we're trying to do that a little bit more evenly this year. I wouldn't say it's going to be 50-50, maybe a 60-40 split this year. And yeah, so I'm excited for what 2024 is going to bring. I think it's been a super fun journey. Like I said, sometimes I look back, it's like, man, I can't believe it's been 10 years. Sometimes I'm like, it's been a long 10 years because we've done so much in that time period. A lot in there. But yeah.
So we didn't talk about it and we won't, but we tried to start like 4 other businesses along that time too. Just didn't work out.
It goes back to the picking the right partner thing.
Yeah. I don't know. We've come back to anything you and I touch, we're going to be all right because we've worked on that alignment for so long that we just know. Well,
I think everybody that we've tried to work with otherwise, it's been they're at such a disadvantage because we have such a strong partnership, so much trust with each other, and we work together all the time. I mean, we're always in constant communication. So, I mean, we've had 4 or 5 other things that we've tried to do, and it's just for whatever reason, it's the timing wasn't right, or in a couple cases the partnership wasn't right, or something wasn't there, but. Mostly it was a timing thing.
Mostly a timing thing, yeah, I would say that's true.
It was, looking back on it, it is what it is, right?
And it worked out perfectly. Yeah. If we had those other things going, we couldn't put the time into these that we need to. Yeah. So this is perfect. We're right where we're supposed to be. 2024 is going to be a great year. We've come a long way. Yeah. Our families are starting to get involved. Like, they're all growing up. We're talking about my kids just moved into adult shoes.
Nice.
Like, what the heck?
So expensive.
So... yeah, we're in a new chapter of our lives for sure, but it's nice to have RA doing its thing, Planwise doing its thing, and we're just leading, having a lot of fun getting through it. So
yeah, well, this is a fun little origin story. I enjoyed this.
Yeah, I always appreciate a background story. You start seeing people, and it's like, I wonder where they came from.
Yeah,
How
how'd
did
they meet
that way? How did they get there? Well, now you know.
When you see us in the next event, you can talk about how Richie was born in Denver, Colorado, and Andrew was born in Manchester, New Hampshire.
Yep, there you go, Denver, Colorado. Yeah, I'm glad I got out of there. Beautiful, beautiful country.
Oh yeah.
So glad to live in Indiana, though. Raising family here.
It's a much better place to raise a family in
Yes.
the Midwest.
Yep.
What are you wearing on your feet today?
I got my Christmas.
Oh man, this is the one downside of sitting at the table. We have to. Oh yeah, the Luckies, huh?
Yep, we got the Lucky Lows. Jordan 1 Lucky Lows.
Yep.
First time I've worn them, actually.
Oh yeah.
And I wore them because I think this will air right around St. Patty's Day. So.
Oh, there you go. I have my least favorite shoes on.
Yep.
From a looks perspective, this is one of my favorites. But they, right here, right there, they crush my pinky toe every single time I step.
Yep.
And it, like, I remember the first time I wore them. I wore them to dinner with Crystal, and we were walking. It was like maybe 150 yards from the car to the restaurant. And by the time we got to the restaurant, 150, I was like hobbling because I thought I broke my toe.
Yep.
It like every time I step, it like cracks, and I'm like, ugh. So I don't know. I love the way they look, but I do not like the way they feel on my feet.
Yep.
So
you guys know me. That's my favorite Jordan right there. It's the 4. But I will 100% tell you they are not the most comfortable thing. And you're going to get your Achilles cut when you walk right there.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to squeeze your toes.
Yep.
It's not the most comfortable shoe, but I just love the way it looks. It's definitely my favorite.
Yep. All right, guys.
Cool. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah,
It's been a fun journey. Cheers to another 10, 20 years. And then I'm done. I'm retiring.
Yeah, 20 years is too long.
All right, put a number out there. I know mine.
I mean, no more than 15.
I was gonna say when I'm 50, I want to.
Yeah, I'll be 15. I'll be like 53.
Yeah, 15. I'll be 51. 51.
Sounds right. Sounds right.
51, 53. We're done.
All right. Sounds good.
Cheers.
All right.